There is no group of nurses right now, I think in Canada, perhaps in North America, that is more unrecognized and disrespected than nurses who work in the long-term care environment. Okay, we're here at Devonshire. Park Place is the owner, and we're here because 15 nurses are trying to get a first collective agreement that respects the value of their contribution and is in some way is in parity with not even what Alberta Health Services pays, but parity with what this employer pays to nurses working at Hardisty Nursing Home.
We had been in negotiations for quite a lengthy period of time. I believe we organized in September. We bargained for at least a year. The following September, the employer clearly was not interested in providing appropriate pay. At the end of the day, by the time Christmas came along, they gave us what they said was their final offer. It provided, it was less than, not just less than the provincial standard for nurses, it was actually less than this employer was paying at Hardisty.
The members at the local felt that they weren't being treated fairly. Their wages, their benefits were not meeting the industry standards at other facilities.
Perhaps they wanted a strike, but I suspect that what this employer thought is it's a small group of nurses. You know, it's 15 people, predominantly female, predominantly visible minorities. They just didn't think that people would be willing to take the action.
I think the management were not really convinced that the nurses will go on strike. In their mind, we're only a handful, 15 nurses who are way to be going on strike and not just sign the contract, whatever was being offered. But for us, we felt that we are registered nurses. We deserve to be paid we want parity with the other nurses.
As with anything in UNA, the members are the ones that make these decisions. The negotiating committee isn't the one that makes a decision to go out on strike. It's the members.
And at times at those meetings, because they were happening in the summertime, that there was, we were joking that we'd be going on strike, that the local would be on the picket line in the dead of winter, and we'd have to be getting out our big parkas.
I believe the employer thought that the nurses, they love their residents, and the employer definitely knows that. I think they have decent working conditions there, so I think the employer believed that they would not go on strike, and we're probably pretty surprised that for the next couple of weeks they're going to be working extremely long hours.
This group of nurses decided that that's it. This is the line in the sand, and they weren't going to take it anymore. They were going to stand up for themselves. They were going to take this job action, and they would stay out as long as it took them. And they were there every day on the picket line, and they were so pleased with all of the support. There were lots of other unions that came out to picket.
It was scary. But then, and it was New Year's Eve too, and we haven't met UNA members before. But then at that time, it was freezing cold, I can remember. We went out of our job, and to see these people from UNA and other support, it was a great feeling that we weren't alone. There was a great hope there and gave us backbone to fight for our rights, right? And it was very grateful feeling, and we're just so thankful were there. And at the same moment, from being scared to being, unionized and being as one with other people. We talk and we just think positive, and we believe it with UNA, with United Nurses of Alberta, that they will come and support us 100%, and we were right.
It's just a sign of support. It's very intimidating for nurses. You know, they're trying to get their first contract. They're a small group, and suddenly they're being asked, you know, to get what other nurses in this province get, what this employer gives at another work site, you have to take a strike vote, and you may have to go on strike. It's, you know, it's a small group, and so that's why our other members are out here, is to, you know, show them that they're not alone.
They knew they were coming, but I don't think they had any idea of the numbers that would be there. And the support from the other unions as well, I think, was big for them to see, you know, QP and AUP show up on the line, and, you know, Chivers Carpenter was there, all those people. I think that was what was, I think they were overwhelmed by the support of everybody.
They realized that they were being paid less, because some of them had friends that worked in other facilities. Some of them, in fact, worked casual in other facilities, and recognized they were getting paid more and had you know, better working conditions in some of those other sites. And they said, well, why don't we have that here? It's all the same city, it's all the same province. And they recognized that as being wrong, and that's why they wanted to unionize in the first place.
So I think initially when the strike started, the members at the local were a little bit hesitant, they were a little bit scared, nervous. There was a lot of emotions because we didn't know how long the strike would go on for. But as the strike went on, you really saw the camaraderie amongst the members.
I think that they really were together from the beginning and wanted exactly what all the other nurses in the province wanted. So I don't think it was a matter of having to convince them or anything. And their momentum just gained as the support came out. They were just so thankful to have everybody come to the picket line. They thought it was great.
But when we went out there and to see all these 100 other nurses, it was great. Like, it was so awesome that, you know, we're not alone. The feeling that we had is we're not alone.
And, you know, they really felt that everyone was behind them, including, you know, the people driving by on the streets, honking their horns, waving. Even the family members, they would stop and say, you know, we really support you, we miss you, we want you to come back to work.
Linda Silas had sent a message right after she heard that the strike had started, saying encouragement and how very proud she was of your group of nurses to take this stand, because it's not an easy thing to do.
When they came to the picket line, of course, some of them would bring their kids, they're single parents. One of them would bring pots and a wooden stick, and the kids would bang on the pots. They brought blow horns. They created chants at home. So when we got to the picket line, they'd be singing the chants, you know, facing towards, you know, the Devonshire Centre. They weren't afraid of their employer no longer, because they knew that UNA and everyone was behind them.
Ho! Where did all the money go? Hey! 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 Park Place disgrace! Park Place disgrace! Park Place disgrace! Park Place disgrace! Park Place disgrace!
Why outside Alberta Health Services? Because Alberta Health Services, with public dollars, funds Park Place Seniors, the for-profit employer that won't settle with the nurses. Well, the main issue is monetary. Wages are part of it. The overall compensation package is about $9 an hour less for these nurses than the same employer pays to nurses employed at Hardisty. Now, that's not even talking provincial standards. That's part of why we're here in front of Alberta Health Services. We aren't asking for parity with what Alberta Health Services provides to nurses working in nursing homes directly or in hospitals. We're asking for parity with what this employer, Park Place, provides to nurses working at Hardisty, and it's wages and all sorts of other monetary provisions in the contract. There's only 15 nurses employed at the centre. I mean, it's a real David and Goliath kind of situation. This employer, a for-profit, out-of-province company, has a very clear mandate. They want public tax dollars in their pockets versus fair compensation for nurses.
It was all a bargaining strategy. It was all about money for this employer, and they were reasonably upfront about it, and they weren't prepared to spend a penny more than they were obligated to spend. And if they thought they could convince people to work for $8 an hour less, then that's what they were going to do. And until these nurses really took a stand and said, no, we're not going to take this, they would have insisted on it.
For 15 nurses to go against the management, they can just like let us go, or yeah, but we believe that UNA will help us, and they did. Without United Nurses of Alberta, we cannot do it, and plus with the support of the other locals, it just made us more strong.
During this strike, you all gained, I think, incredible personal strength. And not only that, but you're going back with an incredible combined strength. One of our staff used to talk about, one twig is easily broken. You bind a bunch of twigs together and you have a very strong, unbreakable branch. And that's what you guys are. And your strike has given you working conditions, not that are maybe conditions, but they are assured conditions. And that is an incredible outcome. So positive strike, I think positive for you, positive for United Nurses of Alberta because of you, positive for nurses right across this province, and as David has indicated, right across this country.
Me, myself, I've worked at Devonshire like 9 years. And I would expect that, I don't want to cry. I would expect that the employer would be the one that will protect me or defend me. But we have Yuna who did this for us.
We're only, as what they always say in the newspaper, a handful. But we show them that a handful can be heard, right?
I think the fact that it was successful and only lasted 2 weeks will make employers in the future maybe a bit more reluctant to take such a hardball approach.
You have to draw that line in the sand somewhere. If you have, if you are a principled person and you believe in right and wrong, then you can't let wrong things happen. You have to do something about it. You can't just let it happen and think somebody else is going to fix it for you. So we, as individuals, every one of us has a role to play in this, and we need to remember that.
But come next time we bargain, your employer, has been said, will know the nurses at Devonshire Local 417 are a force to be reckoned with. So, yes.